What's up, guys? Willis here, working on sanding cabinet doors today. What we're going to do is we're going to take these doors that we have assembled, get them smoothed down to where they're all flush. There's a few that are not quite exactly level right back here. We're going to start with our belt sander. That I actually have 120 grit on it, but sometimes if I don't have to take down so much, I just start with my orbital sander. And when I do that, I start with 80 grit. But today we're going to start with the belt sander to get it smoothed down. Then we're going to touch it with the orbital and get both sides where it's nice and smooth. You're going to see a lot of places where there's cracks or holes or knots or something in this wood. After we get the initial sanding, that's when we fill any cracks and holes that we have left. The first thing is to surface it down to where we have something to work with. Let's get dusty. It is important when you're running a belt sander that you stay with the grain. However, today, because I'm surfacing it down so much, you will see me going cross grain, but then I'll always finish it up with the grain. If you finish it up cross grain, you're going to do a lot of sanding to get those scratches out. So try never to go cross grain with a belt sander such as this, unless you have to, just to get a whole bunch of material off quickly, and then turn your belt in the direction of the grain. I always make sure that these center panels are behind. My goal is to have about a 1/16 of an inch space in there so that when I'm sanding this outside rail, I'm not messing up. I sanded the center panel before we put it together, so now all that is done. I usually blow the doors off right after I'm done rough sanding to show me any places where I need to putty, any cracks in the wood. Oak is often characterized by lots of splitting in the wood. This is some that I had for a little while, so it kind of does a little bit more. But the good thing is, the reason I use this is because it's going to be painted. So no matter what we do to this, you're not going to see it as a stain project. But the reason we did it in oak is because the existing cabinets were in oak. And when you paint oak, it's very defined with its grain. So I wanted the grain to match what they had in their existing. Okay. Doors have been surfaced the first time, and we're going to go through and fill all the holes, any of the cracks, and then let that dry, and then come back with our air sander. We'll start at 120. Since this is oak and it's pretty hard, but we're going to be painting it, we'll probably just finish it at 120 and leave it there. If we were staining it, we would take it to 150. When you have a knot that's this size, you really got to get in there and dig out the loose parts of it, because if you don't, it's going to fall out. After I did my rough sanding on the front and the back and filled the holes, I'm going to catch the edges. I'll do that on my edge sander. Thing that's important is make sure that you check the squareness of your doors. And this is the time where if it's off slightly, you can fix it. And then also it's important that you have a pair of doors that they end up being the same length and the same width. edge sand cabinet doors, I'm always going to start with the two ends of the top and the bottom, only because that's where you take the most material off. And that can also tell you whether you're square or not. That door's off. Where's it off? Right there. Gotta take a little of this off. It's important you do a little at a time. Don't get too aggressive. There. When I'm done sanding, I'll always check them just to make sure that they're the same length. If there's a pair of doors, you don't want them two different sizes. Just make sure that it's a nice line here in the middle where it joins together. And that's it. Just got to take your time, be slow, and use your framing square. You want that to be square. Now we'll take these back over to the table and do the finish sanding on it. Then we'll do a outside profile.